And I was thinking about that too, that the Big 12 coaches outside of Dion, there's really not anyone else that I have an issue. Oh, okay. Scofro, there's him too. But I mean, that's like a whole different type of category because it's a personal vendetta, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the national conversation has an issue with Scott Frost.
No, which is honestly part of what pisses me off about the situation.
Okay.
Like, frankly, what I feel like how he handled the job at Nebraska was irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that no one cares, like, is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that, like, no one, I mean, and maybe all the stories that we know about what happened here haven't made it to the national scene, and so people just don't care, or they don't know, or whatever. But, I mean, if Nebraska was petty, they could probably sue the man for, like, negligence and, like, in terms of doing his job.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't. They paid him to go away, and then he's complained about it ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's part of what makes me angry, is that nationally people don't understand. Like, they literally just think we're mad because he lost.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And that's not the case at all, right? It's because of how he went about his job.
But to be fair, the only way that national conversation can be brought up is if some of the stuff actually comes forward, right? And that's the only way that actually happens. But we're past that point of it actually mattering at a national scene. Well, I think
maybe, I don't know. Allegedly, I think Michael Severe said this. Apparently, he knows of someone that's writing a book about the Scott Frost era at Nebraska.
Well, the Bill Moose book is also coming out, something like that.
I think August.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of it's going to come to light there. I feel so it's a weird place for people like me to live in, because I feel without a doubt that I know what happened. I have talked to enough people who either saw things, were in rooms where people saw things, or are connected enough as reporters that I trust what they have told me. I am not a reporter. I didn't do the work to confirm, to sit here and say, hey, X, Y, and Z happened. I can say allegedly, and I can say all these things, and I can repeat reports that people have said, whether it's about recruiting visits with Dylan and his family, or whatever, like issues being late to practice and all the other things, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can all make the margarita and golden tea jokes and all that kind of stuff, right? But I can't sit here and tell you, as a reporter, I have done the work here and told you what happened. Yeah. As a person who knows enough people, I feel very confident that I know what happened, but I also don't feel like it's my place to be the one that takes it and be like, not that anybody would listen to me anyway, to be the reporter that is breaking that story.
Right. It's not our story to tell. Right.
Right. Well, that's not my skill set either. Right. Like, it's not my skill. Like, because listen, if you're a public figure and you're in the media, it is your story to tell. Like, if a public figure behaves badly in a public job and you are a reporter, it becomes your story to tell. I actually do think there's an obligation there. I very specifically am not a reporter. I find out a lot of things that I probably shouldn't, because people just tell me stuff. Like, when you're in a job like this, people sort of just tell you things.
Yeah, you're very trustworthy too.
But I've got
one of those faces.
I've got kind eyes. But, like, I'm not in a position where I'm going and, like, double sourcing things and stuff like that. Right. I have it on good authority from people I trust about a lot of these things that happened, but I'm not a journalist. I wouldn't even know how to go start vetting and verifying the information in a way that would make it credible. So that's kind of where the problem is here, right? You've got people that know things, and then you've got reporters who have the skill set to follow those things, and those two things haven't met, right? And maybe they will in the book, maybe they will in Bill Moose's book, I don't know, but you're right. That's why it hasn't gone national. Maybe that's why they don't care. But that's also one of the most frustrating things about this situation is we're sitting here and we go, okay, we all feel like we know what happened. I feel pretty confident about that, at least to a certain degree. I've heard too many of the exact same things from too many people that are not connected to have any doubt about what I feel like happened here with Scott Frost.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't have it on record. I don't have permission to say this is for a fact the thing that happened, because this person came to me on record and I verified it with a secondary source and whatever else real journalists do. I don't have that. So I can't sit here and call up Brett McMurphy and be like, hey, bud, by the way, I don't know why this guy's employable.
Right.
Because I don't. I don't know why he's employable. And I don't feel like I'm doing him any harm because he's still got that fat $15 million he didn't work for at Nebraska. So, I don't really know what to do with that.
Yeah.
And I just sit here frustrated and pissed off for no reason.
And of course, there's going to be people that, if they hear this portion of the show, that they're going to say, why do you keep bringing it up? There's no reason to bring it up and all that sort of stuff. Well, it's not. It's what DB would call, do you still want your pound of flesh? And there are plenty of people in the state that are part of this fan base that absolutely do, because they feel that there's a price to pay because he has been paid, hand over fist, according to, how many wins that he actually got. Yeah. How much did he earn from that is not representative. And I know DB says this a lot too, because it's in like the interwoven fabric of the state, of the people of this state, and of this fan base, that we work and we don't just give, right? We want to earn what is given to us. And having someone that comes from our own roots, from our own backyard, a part of our main fabric, not from the bigger cities. He came from the small town of Wood River, Nebraska. He chose to go somewhere else. He chose then to come back. He chose to then be an assistant coach at other locations. Then he chose to come to Nebraska and to help the program, from what he told us at the time, for what he wanted to do. He since went back on those words, but everything after that moment when he was hired in 2017 have turned into what he was given and never what he had earned. And I think that's the biggest issue people have, and why this conversation always gets brought back up, and maybe why we want it to come to a national spotlight, is because we, as a fan base and as people of Nebraska, just want to say, just tell us what you did to earn the money that you got.
It feels like he wronged us. It feels like he stole from us.
Yes.
Like if at the end of the day, it feels like he stole from Nebraska. And I say that knowing that he got almost $1 million in buyout for every win that he had at Nebraska. He had 16 wins at Nebraska. He got $15 million in his buyout. Like there's something that doesn't sit well with that. And listen, I get that's the coaching industry, right?
Yeah.
Jimbo got almost $100 million to walk away at A&M.
But it's also the time. It wasn't just the money. It was the amount of emotional resource that was poured into him as well. The different lengths of logic that we had to jump over every single season.
Honestly, the thing that I like, if he had the exact same record and it felt like he was doing everything he could and treating this job with the reverence and respect that we want it to be treated with, I honestly don't think anybody would have a problem with it.
Yep.
I really don't. Like, I really think people would be rooting for him at UCF. I really think people would be hoping that he had a redemption arc. Like, people were rooting for Bo at Youngstown, right?
They followed him there.
People wanted Bo to win at Youngstown. I was excited when he made a FCS national championship game at Youngstown. Like, I wanted him to be successful at his defensive coordinator stops after that. This is not generally a spiteful fan base for no reason.
I still see people tweet at the Titans rooting for Callahan.
Yeah. I love that Bill Callahan has still had, like, I was never as mad about Bill Callahan as other people were. I genuinely thought Bill Callahan did his best. Like,
it wasn't Bill Callahan's fault. Like, if we go back, revisionist history potentially
lot going on. Like, obviously Steve Peterson was a huge problem. The timing in which Bill Callahan got that job was a huge problem. But like, Bo doesn't exist without Callahan in the way we remember him.
Yep.
A lot of those players, especially on the front end, were Bill Callahan players, Bill Callahan relationships that came to Nebraska. Like, that was really important for Bo's start.
One notable Ndamukong Suh as well.
Yes, absolutely. Like, that's a Callahan recruit. The best player Nebraska's had in the 21st century is a Bill Callahan recruit. Full stop.
Yep.
Right? Now, we got the best out of him under Pelini. I get that. But I genuinely believe nobody's mad at Mike Riley. Nobody. I don't know anybody.
Now they are not.
Like, people were mad about the hire.
Yes.
But nobody's mad about the job Mike Riley tried to do here. We're not happy with the results, but nobody's mad at him personally.
Right. Yes. Yep.
Nobody's mad at him personally. Nobody's mad at Bill Callahan personally. Nobody's mad at Bo personally.
That's a really good distinction. Yes. It's not an attack on, it's an attack on the era of, wow, what a disappointing tenure of Nebraska football. Or like,
I wish they hadn't hired that guy, but it's not, we don't like him.
And it's the added commentary too now of being like, well, I was forced to take it. Like, there were people who made me do it. I know we've already gotten 10 pounds of flesh off of this wounded body.
Bill Callahan's never been, as far as I know, Bill Callahan's never been like, oh, I never should have taken the Nebraska job.
Yeah. He chooses not to talk about it.
He just doesn't talk about it,
exactly.
Which is a super easy thing to do. Like, that man's worked in the NFL for the last 20 years after Nebraska, 18, I guess, after he got fired. And as far as I know, has barely said a word about Nebraska.
Yep.
That's a fine way to approach this, right? I genuinely believe every coach at Nebraska, except Scott Frost, did everything they could and treated this job with the reverence and respect we want our football program and our state, by the way, to be treated with. This is a public position at a public university. It's not just about the football program. It's not just about the university. It's about the state.
And not to make it, this isn't to poke and prod at the state of Nebraska. I'm from here, in case anyone was curious. I've been at every level and every part of this state and every inch of it. But when Bill Callahan doesn't talk about his time in Nebraska and Mike Riley doesn't talk about his time in Nebraska, we are used to nationally kind of being ignored and kind of being overlooked. We're fine with that. If you don't have anything to say about us, if it's not going to be nice, we're totally fine with that. We can handle that. But it's when you choose to come back and you have some offhanded comments and you choose to do some sort of slight digging or you try to get one step above us, that's when we get upset and we get frustrated with you.
Especially when we did everything we could to help him be successful.
What more could have Nebraska done for Frost?
That's what I mean.
There was nothing more. There was nothing more that we could have given.
He was bad, right?
Yes.
Just there's no other way around it. And I didn't even start hearing in any sort of numbers hot seat talk until his 4th year of being bad. Kalen DeBoer is on the hot seat today.
Yes.
If Kalen DeBoer doesn't make a college football playoff, he is getting fired at Alabama.
He's in top 10 lists nationally for coaches on a hot seat.
Full stop. If they don't make a college football playoff, he's getting fired. If Brian Kelly doesn't make a college football playoff, he is getting fired, I think.
Yes, I agree.
There are Lincoln Riley, if he doesn't have a good season, is on the hot seat.
We're talking over 7 wins for USC. He's probably fired.
At least, yes. And this is 2 years ago. They won 11 games and had a Heisman Trophy. 2 years ago, had 11 games, won a Heisman Trophy, right? His track record is way better than anything that Frost brought to the table. And he's on a hot seat. Nebraska wasn't even whispering hot seat stuff until it'd been 4 full years. At the end of the 4th year, people were like, maybe we need to move on. So it still wasn't a consensus.
Is that a Frost problem or is that a Nebraska fan base problem?
I'm saying we gave him every opportunity.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
We gave him every opportunity. I thought he should have been fired after the 4th year. I really did. Because I was like, hey, what are we doing?
21, right?
Yeah.
And
so
3-9. Yeah.
That was hey, we're losing a bunch of guys. I don't know how this is going to get better. I think it's time to move on. That's when they made all the coordinator changes and stuff like that.
And that was also the conversation was, and we had spun ourselves into a complete confusion into saying, well, look how close the program is to turning the corner, rather than if another program or another school in any other conference goes 3-9, had all of the bad luck that they had. Not a lot of other schools in the country, out of the 140 FBS schools that we have, would go, oh, yeah, this guy's really close to turning the corner at 3-9 and all these close losses. They would point and say, what are you not doing in close losses that we can't get over the hump in these and turn these into wins? That's the difference, I think, in Nebraska, that I guess we just gave Scott Frost that extra little bit of leash and we just kept pulling and never roped him back in. We just kept giving and giving and giving, and then he just took the mile.
Of the teams in the top 10 that are not top 10 wins all time that are not Ivy League teams, because they've got the weird front end stuff because they played football for 30 years before
the fake national
else.
Championships.
Yeah, like the Yale, Harvard, Penn. I'm taking them out of it. Of the people that are still major college, like FBS college football teams, tell me which one of these schools doesn't fire a coach after 3 consecutive losing seasons and then a 3-9. Okay, so 4 consecutive losing seasons, capping off with a 3-9. Tell me which school does not fire their coach.
Okay.
Because this is the neighborhood Nebraska's in. Nebraska's 9 all time. They're 8th in FBS only.
Yep.
Okay. Michigan
fires their coach.
Ohio State
fires their coach.
Ohio State would have fired Ryan Day last year if they didn't win a national title.
They fired Luke Fickell after 1 year. He was somewhat interim, but
yes. Like Ohio State was ready to fire Ryan Day if they don't go on a run in the national championship.
They would have fired him mid-second season.
Alabama already fired. Had that.
Fired.
Notre Dame.
They had those weird what is it, Charlie Weiss or whatever years?
I still don't think he survived 3-9.
No.
You're
right. So you're right. I'm giving too much credence because they were still winning seasons, right?
He started with a 10-win season.
Correct.
With Brady Quinn.
Yes, correct. Fired. Yes, fired.
Right?
Right.
Let's see who's next. We've got Texas. 100% fired.
Yeah, fired.
Oklahoma.
Fired.
Penn State.
Fired.
Nebraska is next on that list. Georgia.
Oh, fired in year 1.5.
USC.
Fired, yeah.
They fired Lane Kiffin for less. Tennessee.
Fired, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen them fire guys for less recently. LSU.
Fired.
Clemson.
Oh, Clemson's interesting. They're kind of one of their own. I think they're close to how Nebraska may treat stuff, but I think it would be after 3 years in a 3-9 season fired, yes.
Then we've got Auburn.
Oh, fired. Yeah, they're so volatile. Yeah,
we just went through the top 20. The first one that I think maybe, and I still think he gets fired, West Virginia.
Yeah,
that's a Texas A&M absolutely gets fired.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get down to 25.
Well, if it's an oil year, then yes, then they would find a way.
If it's a good year for oil, absolutely firing him. We have to get down to 25. That's when we're getting to the Virginia Tech, Pitt, Georgia Tech, Syracuse's of the world.
I think the one that I could say like almost exactly in the same scenario, it's like a Pitt. It's like Dan Marino comes back. It's Pitt. Pitt would be the only one that they'd be like, we'd give our homegrown guy the same credence.
Maybe.
That's the only way that I could think of that.
What I'm saying is the leeway that he was given is so unprecedented for a program of Nebraska stature that the fact that's I think what bothers that's what bothers me. I think that's what bothers other people is that it feels like he did not give nearly as much to Nebraska as Nebraska gave to him. Mm-hmm. There is an imbalance in that equation, and Nebraskans don't like that. Nebraskans like things to be fair. Mm-hmm. Nebraskans like things to be equitable, right? Yep. We want like, hey, I'll give you my all, you give your all back, we're cool, right?
Yep.
Or hey, you don't try at all, I'll walk away, we're cool. But when there's an inequality in that effort level, and I'm specifically talking about inequality in effort, we want your best, whatever that looks like. We want your best. And if you're not willing to give that to us and you still expect our best in return, we're going to have problems. And that's really, I think, the problem here. And then to go out and be, honestly, I feel like Scott Frost should be grateful to Nebraska.
Yeah.
I really do. I think he should be grateful for the fact that he was given that much leeway, that he was set up financially to take his time and do whatever he wanted to try and figure out what was next. Mm-hmm. That's not a courtesy normal people have, certainly. And I think that's a hard part that Nebraskans are in dealing with this whole situation. And a lot of coaches don't even have that leeway if they're not at a program that is that financially well off that they can just write you the check for you to go away. Like that's not something that happens everywhere. There's guys that have to work. And I think he was put for as poorly as things went here. I think he was given and Nebraska didn't say boo out the door, by the way.
Right.
Like
there was a very good section of the fan base that were like, still need some time.
Yeah.
They were still wanting to give the leash.
Like, which I thought was crazy, like, especially after the Georgia Southern loss. But like Nebraska as a university, even largely as media, did not say much on the way out the door. Mm-hmm. There was a few things about like not coming to practices and stuff like that and recruiting meetings. But for the most part, for what I believe had transpired here at Nebraska, very little was said as he walked out the door. We just wanted to move on.
Mm-hmm. Well, and those conversations didn't come up for like months.
Yes.
6 months, 8 months later.
Yeah.
And that was because I won't mention by name, but somebody spilled the beans finally and was like, hey, this is what was happening here. This is why it ended up in such disaster and despair when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to, staffing issues.
Yeah.
That part was always crazy to me.
Yeah.
I think if he had an opportunity maybe to grow up a little fucking bit before he came here, like another coaching stop.
Yes.
To like get his ish together, maybe it would have worked out better.
Yeah.
But he crashed and burned so freaking hard. And then to be like, he was so lauded when he got here that I think that went to his head. And it was like, you're coming off of a amazing season for UCF and building that program up. And then you come here and I don't know that he knew how to handle it, but then to like backhandedly and like slap the fan base in the face the way that he has, I think that is also like the bigger issue.
I think that's my biggest gripe with all of it, right? Is that it's the genesis of this entire argument is that it just never felt like Scott Frost has ever respected Nebraska and its fans.
Yeah.
Right. Even from the playing days.
Yeah.
It was always about him and sometimes the people around him, but it was always about him first. And that's what it's come across as. And I think that is why Matt Rhule has just been so open-armed, basically hugged and embraced. And with all of the things that you think that we could correct ourselves and be a better fan base and all this other stuff, one of the first things that Matt Rhule said at his introductory press conference is, I want to make a program that's worth coming to spend your money, that people work out in the fields for, that people are working in Nebraska, whether they're working in downtown Lincoln or across the plains or in the Sandhills,
out of Sydney,
that they want to come down to Memorial Stadium and spend their money here to watch this team. I want to make it worth their while.
Yeah.
And I think it was exactly the right thing that Nebraska needed to hear. And I think that's why the leash is, again, long again, because we go through those top 10 teams. Matt Rhule has a 5-7 and a 7-6 season. But everyone is willing to ride out this 7-year contract to see where it can end up because he respects the fan base and he has embraced the state more so than the last coach ever did.
Kyle says, we gave him the keys to the Lamborghini and he drove it off the cliff and then blamed us for trusting him with it. That's a great analogy. Like that's a great analogy.